Hey everybody, it's Shante F Green, your host of the Single Parent Basic Training. And for this episode, we have a panel discussion. So no one has really prepared for this. So you are on for a wild ride. So are you ready? Let's go. So everybody's going to introduce themselves. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Everybody's going to introduce themselves starting here at AJ. Go ahead, tell the people who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Hi, I'm Alger James III, also known as AJ. I'm the owner of Sky's the Limit 7, offering motivational speaking services to young teens and adults.
That's good.
Yeah.
Next.
Hi, I am Jesseica Price. I am the younger sister of Shante F Green. I am a RN and I own Pump It CPR Specialist. It is a CPR company where we get people certified in all the BLS certifications.
Hi, my name is Derricka Clark, and I am a makeup artist, and that's pretty much what I do.
Yay, we was B by D today.
B by D.
We're B by D.
I'm Kenya. I am a single mother. I am a part-time model and a full-time social worker.
Hi, my name is Alicia. I am the owner and operator of Little Dreamers Big Dreams Child Care in Greensboro, North Carolina.
My name is Nathan Irving. I'm a health and fitness specialist, and I'm the owner of Fit to Function.
All right, so you have met my panel guests. So let's go. And the first question, I believe, comes from my baby sister, Jesseica.
So I would like to know, when you're dealing with dating as a single parent, what is some of your do's and don'ts as far as, the relationship with the child and the person you're dating?
Okay, I'm going to answer that first, okay? Okay. Because I have hard and fast standards. And my standards include if your child has behavioral issues, you probably shouldn't be dating. You should probably be focusing on your child, because a lot of times, children like my children, nobody was ever good enough for my children, so they would act a fool. So, I had to fall back and analyze the situation. And then there are times when, they have developmental issues. I think that once you get that under grasp or understand what are their triggers, then you can move forward, because I think it's unfair for you to bring someone into a situation that's potentially volatile and your child is acting crazy and then they don't know how to respond and they might act crazy towards your child and I don't have none of that. So I would think that you should go forward in dating when you have a good handle or good understanding or good working situation of your home environment. So what are your thoughts on that? Because, I'm still single, okay? Just saying.
Not for long. She won't be single.
I would definitely agree with what you said. Definitely making sure everything is in order in the home before bringing someone else into it, because you have to think about it. They're going to be coming into whatever the situation is. And a lot of times people outside people can't handle what you have going on in the home.
That's true.
So it's important to get your house in order first.
Yeah. So the Irvings, they are our married couple in the group. I'm so sorry. So from you guys' perspective, how many people do you mentor or do you give advice to as far as single parents or singles, just individually? How many people come to you guys in? Because you guys have been married a long time.
Since 7 years, this past month.
That's a blessing. Yeah.
Well, we do, to a degree, get a lot of people that come up, and now everything is about goals, and people say,
right.
Goals.
Relationship goals.
Yeah, right. So, that's all good and everything, but people need to understand that there's work that goes to it.
Right.
Just like definitely being a single parent, I know you have work that you have to
Right.
do. Make sure that your children are taken care of and that you're taking care of yourself too.
Right.
But when it's a marriage and you're dealing with two people,
Right.
that's that extra work, because you
Right.
gotta be on one accord, and people see that, and people see that we're actually working towards something, and that we're working and trying to do it together. And I think, I don't take all the praise for that. I thank God and I give Him the glory for that. But yeah, we get it a lot.
Yeah.
What do you see as far as, now you own a child care,
I do.
and so I'm sure a lot of your clients, your customers are single parents. What do you see as far as that? How you have to kind of take some of the burden, because by the time they get there, they could have had a rough day, they're overwhelmed.
Right.
So what do you see being a business owner and dealing with a majority of probably single parents?
Well, what I do is I try to treat all of my parents the same. I treat all of my children the same. And so whenever I see that there may be a child that comes in that may not have had the same, extra love given to them whenever they come in, I want to be the one that give them the love. When the parents come in the door, I treat them the exact same way too. How was your day? I let them know how their children were and let them know that, they're okay here. They're safe here, because I know being a single parent, I know you have to worry a lot. You got a lot on your shoulders. And so to bring them into a child care setting, you want to make sure that they're, well taken care of too. So it's just a matter of, just showing them all of the children extra love.
Right. I have a question. When my son was smaller, I didn't get a lot of help, or like even a lot of outside help, because I think because people felt like I had it all together, and I made it look like I had it all together, people just assume, oh, she's fine, she doesn't need any help. And so one man, he asked, if you need he said, if you need anything, just let me know. And I said, well, my son could really use a haircut, because it had been a couple weeks, in between him seeing his dad. And he was like, oh, okay, well, the barbershop is down the street and around the corner. And I was like,
What you asked me for? That's what you
really hope that you'd say, take my son, I'll take him to the barbershop, or, because it's uncomfortable being a woman in a lot of male environments.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, how hard is it? Because I know a lot of single parents like myself, we don't verbalize a lot of things, because we just shoulder everything and we just go through it, and we just, just focus and just push on through. How hard is it to read, single parents, and at what point do you reach out and say, because I've had the same issue, because, you don't want to feel like and maybe it's pride, you somebody's charity case, I got this, you know what I'm saying? So at what point do you say, let me help you, or here's money for a bill, or here, let me take your son? Like, at what point do you step in and you say that and not do it and feel like you're intruding?
Well, I know that there was a situation that happened not too long ago with one of the parents there, and I could just tell that whenever she would come, or sometimes maybe she wouldn't return my text messages. If it was something like I just asked, are you okay with the payment, or something like that. So after a while, I was like, okay, well, she's not returning my text or anything. It may be something financial. So I just up and said, I sent her a text out of the blue and was like, you don't owe me anything.
That's the blessing.
So, and then even though she didn't respond right away, like later on she did come to me and she was like, you don't understand what that did, how that helped.
Yeah.
And so, it's just knowing that you are able to help in any way that you can, that's a blessing.
That is a blessing. And you are, you're married, and I don't like the term stepmom, because,
Bonus mom.
it has, so I've been calling stepmoms bonus moms, like, for a long time. How hard is it to define lines as far as discipline and even conversation? Because there are some things that I can talk to my children about because of the way that we were raised. We were raised that you just real open, like
oh my God, our mother.
real open.
Too open.
Yeah. So how hard is it to define lines for a bonus baby?
Well, as far as disciplining, I'll discipline her to a certain extent. I don't want to cause any complications or confusion between my husband or her mother.
Yeah.
So I let him do the disciplining as far as the little spankies or whatever. But as far as talking to her, I will talk to her. A lot of times I get her to open up by telling her a little bit about myself.
Well, that's why.
So that she can feel comfortable to tell me about herself.
Yeah.
So it's just little things that we do, we have a really good bond because I've been here like since she was like 4. So over time, she had to get used to me because I'm not her biological mommy, and I always explain to her, I'm not trying to ever take your mommy place.
That's good.
I explained that to her mom before we got married. So it's just all about communicating
Yeah.
what, you know, your husband or your spouse is comfortable with as far as you disciplining the kid. I honestly don't feel comfortable with doing it.
That's good. Anybody else? Questions? Comments? Alger? Agent? Yes.
Okay. As far as when it comes, because I'm from the stepmom point of view, or you know, side. Do you feel like there are boundaries that should be in between when it comes to discussing things about the child?
Well, I
As
never
far as
had an
who?
issue.
As far as the stepmom being able to even voice an opinion.
To who? The mother or
See,
to the?
she already said go.
to the father.
Yeah, that one right there.
To the father
She's
about the
to who?
kid.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll just speak from my standpoint. I never had an issue with my children's bonus mom because my thoughts in that is children's hearts are so big that they have so much love that they can just spread around. And a lot of times, like, I don't know where this bonus mom has already been and how she was raised, so she can give a different perspective. Now, as long as she's giving that perspective, like to the child or even voicing it with their dad, but she never came at me crazy. She's never like, you need to do this or you should do this. We've always had from a mutual respect for each other. Even though the situation was kind of crazy, I decided that, you know what, God knew, and before I got here that this would be it. So I'm just gonna love her like, you know, everything was everything. All right, Kenya has a question for the panel.
My question is towards you or whoever else can answer it. As a single mother, how did you deal with the judgments of just like outside?
Oh, child, I don't deal with judgments because my thing is, what the Lord showed me a long time ago is my children belong to me. They are my investment. And so, yes, there were people, you know, from the church. There were people from, you know, different walks of life, and they have all of these judgments and these things to say. And at the end of the day, my children are my investment and my inheritance. So my inheritance, I'm sorry. So what I focused on was raising my children and doing what's best for them. I don't do judgments. I don't do other people's opinions.
My thing about judgments is the people that's judging, what are they doing for you or your children?
Right.
So if you are not, the judgment that matter is when my sister calls me and say, you need to get it together.
Now,
Because this is a problem. Or my mom, not all the time my mama would.
50-50.
Sometimes.
She gonna see this tape.
Sometimes
say
she can
50-50.
see that she knows. She already knows about herself. Sometimes, you know, it's who's judging.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you spend your life just living by what people are judging you, you will waste your life away.
That's true.
You know, if you become so consumed with success and
Right.
success for your children, you don't have time to worry about
Yeah.
judgment. Now, when the person that you love, whose opinion matter, calls you,
Right.
that's when it's time to reevaluate.
Yeah, I call that the circle of trust.
Everybody else, you can judge all day.
Yeah.
But until you want to drop some money on this power bill,
Right.
you can keep your judgments to
Yeah.
yourself and you just like take it like a grain of salt.
Right.
But I
So
also feel like, of course, I've never been a single mom.
it's okay.
I hope not.
But you can judge.
But as far as the judgment goes, I feel like I tell a lot of people this: your number one hater is yourself. If you allow people or their judgment or their opinion to get in your head, then you're gonna start believing whatever it is that they saying. But if you can have the mentality to block it out or use it to motivate you in some type of way,
Yeah.
exactly, a stepping stone. So once you build that mentality, like, okay, they saying this about me, but I already know who I am. I'm a
Right.
beautiful queen or whatever the case may be. So I feel like, you know, it's all about if you allow it, then of course it's going to affect you in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, one judgment that I think it doesn't matter, but it does, and we react because of it, when the other parent is judging you.
That's true.
So when you step into that realm of the other parent judging you, you feel naturally want to defend yourself as a parent, right? So you have to really know who you are, right? And take the parts out that you could possibly look at, because that's still the child's parent.
Right.
But the other stuff that could be coming from a place of we didn't work out, or
Malice.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. It's just
You have to throw that part away. So it's really breaking down what's important and what's not.
Right.
And you being confident in what you're doing, that helps you break down what's important and what's not.
Yeah. I've learned to pick my battles as far as the children's dad, because there are some things that I ask him about, like how to raise my son or input about the children, and I value that. But then there's some other stuff that I'll say, well, thank you very much, you know. Thank you for that input. Thank you for that input. You know, it is about checks and balances.
Right.
Nate, you have something before we go?
I think Alicia had a question.
Okay.
That would lead into
Well, I was gonna ask the fellas here, because I know you both dabbled into mentorship and, you know, motivating. Like, what are some of the things that you're proud about whenever you're reaching out to the children?
That's good.
Because you may have children from single families,
Right.
so single parent homes. So just give us a little bit of information about what you've been able to do, how you've been able to touch them, and just make a difference in
Yeah.
the children's lives.
Good.
The biggest thing with it is getting them to open up to you, because a lot of kids, when they're in that situation, they feel that it's their fault, they
Right.
bottle stuff inside, and having somebody, an outlet to talk to and let them know, well, look, it's not as bad as it seems, that everything is all right, and taking those spins and turn them into a positive, that's something that's very rewarding out of those type of situations, because you see it too much in our community, and
That's true.
trying to get a positive spin on the way we're viewed, especially as black men, getting them to realize that the stereotypes that you could fit into if you fall back into that and keeping everything bottled in like that,
Right.
it could have a negative effect on you. Get them to realize there are other ways for them to get out of that situation and move forward.
Love it.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with him. Getting the most important thing is getting the kid to feel comfortable with you. Once they feel comfortable, then they're able to open up to you more. I mean, even if it takes me listening to something like Future with them or something,
Right.
and then also explaining like, yeah, I can listen to it, but you know what you understand what he's saying, because most of them that listen, I'm not gonna criticize them. I like to listen to it too, but I understand it, you know, and I know when to, you know, cut it off. Like, okay, this is too much. So to be able to listen to it with them and explain it, because most of them listen to certain things or they see certain stuff and they don't have nobody there to explain it to them.
The reality, this is not reality.
Right.
And that's one of the good things about me. I feel like I've been in those situations where I could relate to them in such a way where I could relate to the younger generation and still connect with the older generation. So I use a little bit of both and instill that in whatever message I'm trying to relate to them, and they respect it a lot.
It makes it a lot easier for them to look up to you and want to come to you
Exactly.
with stuff and actually ask those questions of, well, what about this happening in this situation? What about that? And that's what we're trying to get to in the first place. Get them to open up and say, well, how do I reach this next level of whatever it is I'm trying to reach?
I love it. I think as a community, as a black community, we talk about, we have a lot of broken homes. And we have a lot of homes that are not broken. They try to, you know, say we have a lot of broken. We also have a lot of homes that are not broken. But I think we need to start pulling together more and saying, instead of tearing each other down and saying, oh, well, she keep herself dressed up and look at her kids. Start pulling together more and start saying, hey, you know, you need help, or taking that time out to be mentors to other people's kids. And as our community, we need to accept that.
Right.
When somebody come at you and say, you know, I seen your daughter at the mall cutting up, instead of being so confrontational, we need to take a step and say, hey, we all need to pull together, because it really takes a village to raise successful children. Shante and her blended family is a prime example of that. when people say goals, I always look at her relationship with her ex-husband's wife and their children, their blended family, and say that is a goal for me, to be able to share moments the way that they share their moments, and take pictures and truly like each other on a personal note, and know that it's really not about us adults anymore. It's about making these children successful in the community, because they're jumping ahead of us because we're focused on the wrong things.
Right. Yep. And again, thank you so much for tuning in to Single Parent Basic Training. I hope you got a lot out of this. Feel free to share this video, and the Irvings are going to tell you how to reach to them, because they haven't done it yet.
You can find me on Facebook at Fit to Function. Also on Instagram, fit_to_function.
You can also visit his website at
That as well.
That's
what I have her for.
Backbone.
At fittwofunction.com. And my website is www.littledreamersbigdreams.com.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Love you lots.